I've often said dog training is like a conversation between two friends. But I'd like to ask you, is your conversation eroding the trust between you and your dog or building it up? Hi, I'm Susan Garrett, and I'm trying to help people be better dog trainers for their dogs. And what I see is a very common mistake. And it's a mistake that's put a lot of assumptions into dog training. And today I'm going to give an example of how you teach a dog to retrieve. So I'd like to have you start thinking about, if you had a new puppy or a rescue dog, how would you go about teaching that dog to retrieve anything to you? Let's just say a toy. Let's start with a toy. Because traditionally, any kind of training happens in one of two ways. It's a lured behavior, in that, I guess it would be difficult to lure a dog to retrieve something. But traditionally, behaviors are trained either with a food lure to get a dog to follow that. And in that case, you create the behavior with food, but the dog really doesn't understand the behavior. It relies on many, many repetitions of you luring and the hope that the dog will identify the pattern. We're patterning the repetition, and after hundreds of patterns of getting them to do the thing, they will figure out what that thing is. That's one way people have been training a dog. Another way is what my mentor, Bob Bailey, calls lumping behavior. And that is you create behavior either through encouragement or through enticement, and quite often the retrieve falls into that one. I'll get to that later. But think about this. This has happened to me, and maybe it's happened to you. I have traveled to many European countries for the Dog Agility World Championships. And in many of these countries, people don't speak English. And so I like to go to the grocery store and buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Being a vegan, I often will make my own food when I'm overseas. And so it can get problematic for me. Take, for example, I'm in a grocery store and I'm asking for a carrot. Now, you might think that's simple, but it's difficult to meme out, I need a carrot. And just for fun, I had a few members of our team share with you how they say carrot in their native language.
Gajar.
Carrot, shargarep.
Carrot, gajar.
Carrot in Swedish, morot. In Spanish, zanahoria.
How much fun is it? I love that we have a global team. And so think of what you would do. This is what we all do. We want to try to convince this person who doesn't speak our language, I'd like this carrot. And so they look at you quizzically like, carrot? And you go, yeah. And you try to shape out, eating it, like carrot. So you might say a little louder. And they go, and you go, like carrot, like they're deaf. And then you might say it slower, carrot. None of that helps because you're not speaking a language that they understand. And yet it happens with dogs and their owner. So what will happen is they will say to the dog, I don't know, fetch or get it. And maybe the dog doesn't get it. Maybe there's another distraction going by. Maybe there's another dog nearby. Maybe the grass is wet and they've not done it when the grass is wet. You say, get it. And they look at you like you've got 6 heads. Huh? And you tell them again, get it. And they might start scratching their head. And then you might put your hands on your hips and say, you know what I mean. And you keep babbling at them. Get it, get it, get it. And here, there's actually been a scientific paper where they've done an MRI they took 12 dogs, I believe it was, and they did an MRI on the brain when dogs are given specific cues that they know and that have meaning, that they know, okay, this means that. They've been trained, okay, I got it, versus when then a person is babbling things that they have no clue what they're meaning, right? So you know what I mean. What are you doing? Come on, get that, whatever. That when you're babbling, it actually increases brain activity, which you may think sounds like a really cool thing, but it isn't. Because what's happening, the scientists believe, is that the dogs who understand if I can please you, I could earn a reinforcement or maybe avoid a punishment. Let's not go there. If I please you, I could earn a reinforcement. So the brain starts firing up. I don't know what they want. What do they want? And the brain, versus when they have clarity, and Brene Brown says clarity is kind. When they have clarity, The brain doesn't have to fire up. And so you've got to ask yourself, are your cues creating that clarity for your dog? Or do you have your dog's brain fired up when you're trying to train with them?